This ball of spaghetti. I keep hitting my head on this thing. Starting relay, the starter relay. Start over. I suck at YouTube. All I really need to do, oh, I hit my head on that thing again. No, let's start this differently. Hold on, I really suck at this YouTube thing. Let's try this again, okay? Let's try it again. I think this will be a good enough ground for now. Kind of crappy, but that's got to be the 5th time I've hit. Welcome to Attempted Auto, where we suck. Well, howdy YouTube. This is Paul. I am back in Tennessee. Got my daughter with me this time, and we came down here. We had to drop a car off for a flat broke garage for Bill, and you know, so I had my car trailer with me. But my wife said, no more cars. She said, you got enough projects in the yard, no more cars. I said, okay. She says, no, you don't understand. No more cars. So I said, okay, all right, I promise, no more cars. So we came down here, we dropped the car off for Bill, and I got no more cars. Y'all want to see my Jeep? So this is not a car. Clearly not a car. This is a, oh, gonna get hit by a car. So this is a, what year is this, Brett?
77.
1977 Jeep Cherokee Chief. It is definitely not a car. Look at it. Anybody can tell this is not a car. And it's loaded up and it's ready to go home. And we're gonna see if we can get this thing running and driving. So let's see how it goes. And I guess this is the beginning of an adventure.
Sure is.
Here we go. Okay, the plan was to have it all clean at this point. We failed. We couldn't find a car wash that I could fit the truck and the Jeep into. So here we are at O'Reilly's, and figure if it needs anything, we'll be able to get it here. But for the first time, we're gonna poke through this thing. Actually, I guess it's not technically the first time. We did a little bit of looking. But we're gonna see what we actually bought and are dragging home. So here's the truck. We know now it is a 77 for sure. The 78 would have had the DuraSpark, the newer DuraSpark single unit controller. This does not. So Brittany's gonna jump up there, open the hood, and we're gonna get a better look at what's going on. So here we are, the AMC 360, not to be mistaken for the Chrysler 360. Missing the alternator right down there. Wiring is pretty butchery. This thing had, oh, I didn't even show the inside of this. Wait till you see the inside. This thing had a stereo system in it, and I believe this was the feed to the stereo system. So it looks like they've hacked about every wire they could hack in order to have that thing working. So actually, let's take a peek on the inside. You're gonna like this. Guess you don't really need to sit when you're listening to that. So it had a little bit of a sound system. They cut holes in everything for speakers. Eventually we're gonna have to get to the bottom of all that. Oh look, more butchered wires. So, but anyways, yeah, they might have liked noise, but they did not like doing wiring right. Look at these pedals though, no sign of wear at all. So I believe that might actually be the correct mileage. Okay, so now that we're distracted with the inside, let's go back to under the hood. creatures have definitely been living on this thing. Ouch. Of course, I pulled out gloves and then I didn't put them on. But we got some critters. They've done a good job with the plug wires also. This is fuel. So it looks like somebody's attempted to do something with this. Anyways, Bert, why don't you pull off that air cleaner? Let's see what we got for a carburetor on this thing. She was smart enough to put gloves on. I like literally have my gloves sitting right there. No air cleaner. That's not good. Pop that off. Two barrel. Remanufactured. It's pretty forward looking. Looks like it was running a bit rich the last time it was running. So, hey, look, that one wasn't cut. How about that? Little screw in the vacuum. Excellent. That one's plugged. So, all right. Nice. It's just a little bit of critters up there. Can you look down into that and see if anything is any kind of crud in there?
I don't see it. It looks pretty clean.
It looks clean in there?
Yeah.
Right, that's good. Accelerator pump? No. Nope. Guess you can expect that. Alright, so this has been sitting for, I believe he said 20 years?
Yeah,
Did he say?
some years.
Alright, so 20 years he believes that this thing has been sitting. So it's going to be dry cylindered. And see if we can spin it over, get some juice down in those cylinders, and I don't know, we'll go from there, I guess. So let's grab a bar. Since the fan is off of it, I did see the fan inside, I think, right? The fan was in there, yeah. So we do have the fan, but we're gonna put a bar on that center bolt and give this thing a tug and see if it moves, see if it does anything exciting. My guess is the reason the alternator is missing is because of the sound system. It was probably worth more than they thought the Jeep was worth, so they took it with them. So, alright, swap places. Probably be better to get this from underneath. Myself in a good position. Let's see what we got. We got a bolt that's turning. Oh, we got a stuck motor. I say we are stuck. Put a foot on it. Yeah, I'm just tightening the bolt. But I can see, I don't know if you can get the camera. Maybe I can get the camera. If you see that rust spot, of course, I don't know if I can hold it. It is flexing a little bit. So I think the crank might be free. Might be something in the valve train. So that's a little discouraging. So I guess what we'll do now is pull the spark plugs, get some Marvel Mystery down into this thing, and I guess put some miles on it, let it do its thing, and we'll maybe stop in a couple hours and see if it'll spin over then. So we're gonna get wrenching on that, and then we'll get back to you. Move it by hand yet?
No.
They actually don't look, this is the first one. They don't really look terrible. Like they haven't been in here too long, probably. Only 25 years or so.
Maybe it's just the gloves.
It's just the gloves messing you up. A little bit of rust in that one. Rust and crud in that one. Sorry, go. Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah. Gas? Really old gas. Why would there be that much really old gas in that cylinder? Unless that's transmission fluid, somebody else was soaking it. I have to point it down for that one. How's that one look? Pretty gross too, huh? So that's opposite of the other. Does it smell like oil?
Yeah. Again.
I can get it if you want. You can see all the threads. It's got to be really close. All right, so there is all 8 of them. And what we found is second from the back on both sides. I don't know if AMC numbered them like Chevy or like Ford. So it's either number 3 and number 6 or number 5 and number 6. Had goo on them. All the rest of them were pretty dry. I don't know if that means anything or not, but we're gonna get some fluid down in there. Alright, so I tried pulling on it again and it still won't turn over. I didn't think it would. All we did was pull spark plugs. So we're gonna dump some mystery oil and mix a little transmission fluid, a little PB blast here, and we'll get that into the cylinders. Get that doing its thing, and pour some down the carburetor. How big of a mess I can make. See, now transmission fluid is technically a detergent, so we really just wash their driveway. Okay, so all the cylinders have some goop in them. I'm going to pour some down the carburetor, and then we're just going to let it work while we drive. We're back. Jeep's at home. It's been probably 3 weeks. Yeah, probably 3 weeks, maybe a little longer. All I've been doing is soaking it and checking it. It's still stuck. What I didn't get any video of is on the way home, we stopped. We filled this thing with diesel fuel. We filled it down the carburetor, in the crank. It's full of diesel fuel. I had the plugs in it. I have them out now, and I'll get you in here a little closer to show you. But I've got my breaker bar on the crank bolt, and I've got a ratchet strap pulling on it. It's had pressure on that motor for weeks now, and we're still solid as a rock. All right, as you can see, the breaker bar has been on here. Harbor Freight ratchet strap, and I've given this ratchet strap all that I can give it. That's all she got. I don't want to get my head in the way, but it is not moving at all. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the cover off of the transmission, the inspection cover. I'm going to see if I can get in there with a pry bar and work the teeth on the flex plate and see if maybe I can get some movement with this pulling on the front, with that pulling on the back. And actually, while I was saying that, I remembered that when Brittany and I were working on this out in Tennessee, the balancer had a little bit of wiggle to it. Well, at least maybe it was wishful thinking, but we both thought we saw the balancer wiggle a little bit. So maybe my first step should be to pull these valve covers off and see if I've got something going on the top end before I just start yanking on it. Yeah, I think that's what I'm going to do. I think I'm going to pull these valve covers off. We'll take a look at the top end, see if there's any answers there we can get. Then we'll maybe pull on the crank from both the front and the back and see if that frees it up. But let's get these things off. All right, all the bolts are out, so let's have a look together. If I can get these off. Ooh. Oh, I got some dryness in there for sure. I don't know if it's I don't know if that's the problem, but it's pretty ugly. Let's see what the other side looks like. Then we pulled the spark plugs. It was these back ones here that looked like they had a lot of crap in them. Same deal. The front ones are pretty scaly. The rest of them look pretty good. So there's oil on that. Yeah, it smells like oil too. Yeah. Odd, huh? They have oil in the front, but rust like that in the back. So, all right. Well, I guess that didn't really teach me too much. So, back to my original plan. Let me get the inspection cover off the transmission, and we'll see if we can pull this thing over a little bit. Can you see anything? Let's see if I have the right tools. Not you. Not you. 5/8. No, definitely not you. Should be a 1/2 inch under here somewhere, I hope. Oh, I didn't grab the 1/2 inch. Let's see if I can get this apart without knocking the camera over or completely blocking it. I'm not sure any of these are the right bolts. I also hope I don't just take a whole face full of oil in a second. Well, not too bad actually. All right. So that's actually, come here, yo. Spin you around a little bit. That's actually not super terrible. So I got to see if I can get in here with a pry bar and do a little bit of pulling over here, and see if I can get this thing to spin. So let's see what happens. Of course, I didn't bring one with me. You know, you can overplan this stuff. All right, let me go get a tool. Be right back. So I decided to leave these in the sun so they would be hot. So that way I wouldn't really be able to work with them for about 10 minutes. Oop, slowing his pace. Get over there. All right, now I can either see it myself or let you see it. So we'll see how that goes. Also, it smells like this is my chicken's new bathroom. All right, I might have to back you up a little bit. All right, this is probably gonna have to be done without the camera. You're gonna have to get moved because I can't see what I'm doing. Maybe I could put you here. Then you can't see anything. Here? Can you see anything? Maybe you can. I can't tell. All right. Let's try the shorter one. Now that should be the same direction as that strap is pulling. Oh, it turned. Did you see that? Oh, did you see that? It turns. Oh, did you see that? Victory. I'll let you look for yourself. See, look for yourself. Victory. Victory. That's all diesel, by the way. Just running out of everything. Oops. as I bust teeth off. Oh, I'm so excited to see that. Now, I guess we can go back up front with the big tool and give this thing a couple spins around and see if we have anything going on. So why don't you come up front with me? Can you see anything in there? Look at this. Oh, loose. It's loose. So let's come all the way up. We're gonna take a big bite. Going for a big bite. If I'm smart enough to get the tool on it, which is apparently debatable. There it is. There it is. Oh. Might have to put a ratchet on it instead of this thing. There. All right. Look at this. Look, 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 look. Oh. Guess I can only pull it from the back. I guess it's a slow victory. Oh. It's a two-handed victory. All right, maybe we go back to underneath. Oh. All right, so let's get this thing on here. And maybe we'll put the big pipe on it. Which the camera's gonna be right in the way of course. Can you see me? All right, let's get this on here. Take a big bite, see what happens. Oh, wow. But I can pull it from underneath. So I guess we go back to underneath for a while. All right, let's keep working it from underneath. I'm gonna set you someplace safe, like here, where you're not gonna get dripped on. So I'm unable to move it from up top, but I can work it a couple teeth at a time here. So we'll just keep doing this. Until it decides to play nice. Oh, you know what? I still have that wrench on there up top. All right, let me see if I can move it from up top yet. You stay right here. Still nothing. Huh. All right, well, still nothing top side. So I guess we'll keep going around. I should have a camera set up. Make sure I don't have some valves doing bad things. Oh. One tooth at a time. Well, eventually it'll go. I don't dare put the starter on it. Got a lot of fluid to shoot out. Did we hit something? Are we stuck? Definitely got tighter. God. All right, well, is that all we get till we readjust? Might be it. Well, we're on something hard. So I guess we go to that side and go back. Maybe I can put the wrench on it and go back. So I hit a hard spot. It stopped. I'm gonna turn it back the other way. I still can't get it from the crank. It's still from the crank pulley. I don't have enough leverage, I guess, with the ratchet. So I'm gonna set the camera down for a little bit. I'm just gonna keep working this motor back and forth from underneath. And I'll bring you back when I either have some progress or have some broken parts. So see you in a little bit. All right, so I got it spinning around, comes to one spot and it stops, it hits. And I can go the other way till I hit about that same spot. I came back up top and I found, can you see that? I got an exhaust valve that's stuck. So if I take a screwdriver, pop that back up, you see that? Now it's where it's supposed to be. And of course I dropped my ratchet. And now I can make a lot of noise in front of the camera. And now she turns like nothing again. So I've got one valve I got to try to work loose. And yeah, then I might be able to make this thing fire. I might give it a couple heat cycles if I can get it to run, see if that frees itself up good. I'm going to talk to Brittany, though. Most likely she's going to want me just to take these heads to a machine shop, and just for peace of mind. But I'm going to keep going. I'm going to spin this over a bit, see if I can get that valve all freed up, and see if I can get this thing to live. Did find a couple pieces missing. I did find a wiring diagram also online, so I can hopefully just scramble all this stuff and get it to work. Nope, I just heard another valve. Let me get the tool back on this. She's stuck again. Let's see what we got this time. No, I guess not. It's just a little bit of a dry spot. Can you see those valves with that camera? I still got diesel fuel coming out of this motor. See, that one's, I got two, I guess, that are hanging up. Two exhaust valves, not playing well. Oh, right there. Right there. It's that one this time. I'd say we won. I would say we won. All right, so I've got to get the diesel fuel out of this thing. I'm going to drain that out. I am still definitely going to pull these front couple of rockers, push rods, get them cleaned up. There's a lot of rust that I really don't want to have going through the motor. So let me get them all buzz clean, give this thing an oil change. Then I got to figure out what electrical parts we're missing and go through the wiring diagram and see if I can sort this out, at least good enough to make it get spark and see what happens. We do have a coil. Brittany and I did buy plugs and wires and a coil, but I'm missing the starter solenoid, and I have a lot of hacked up wires that I need to just go through and test. So let me get all that stuff sorted out, or at least a little bit sorted out, get some oil in this thing, get a new filter on it. Oh, I don't have a filter yet either. So let me get all that stuff taken care of, and then I'll bring you back probably in a day or so, and we'll continue. So let's get at it. Hey, we're winning. Fantastic, we're winning. Okay, we're back. I have, boxes and boxes of parts from Rock Auto, from O'Reilly's, and Advanced Auto, and wherever else I could find the stuff. But this makes a good tinny echo. I set the valve covers back on. They're not bolted. They're valve covers, yeah. They're not bolted on. They're just sitting there. I'm going to pull them off. Last time we looked at this, there was a lot of rust on the front rocker arms and push rods. I'm going to take all of the push rods, rocker arms off of this thing, get them in my ultrasonic cleaner, get them all cleaned up, ready to go back in here. While the ultrasonic cleaner is doing its thing, most of the parts I have are wiring, so we're going to go through, try to straighten out the wiring. Got a coil. Okay, I'm sidetracked already. I haven't touched the rocker arms yet, but I just wanted to show you how butchered this harness is. I've had a little bit of time to look at it now. So here's your volt regulator. That's got its place in it. It's got a yellow wire, green wire, red wire. Red wire is power. Okay, so here's your ECU. Red wire is power. These connectors. I only see 3. So blue, white, these should be heading to the distributor according to my wiring diagram. Red is power, tied to this power, which is tied up here to this cluster, which is indeed a cluster. This, I believe, goes to the coil. It's got, well, you can see what it's got. So then it comes up, there's another splice. This is your main power feed. Well, your return power feed. This is what's powering all of the accessories under the hood. One of these runs to the carburetor. I got you in the way. To the carburetor. Then you have your wire from the distributor through this connector here. Okay, so this gets spliced out here. Now, this yellow wire is like maybe a, I don't know, maybe a 10 gauge. The only other yellow is coming out of the voltage regulator, and it's like maybe a 16. I'm gonna have to take this mess here apart to figure out what's what. I don't know what this one is. I'm going to assume that that's a ground, but I'll look it up before I do anything crazy. Here's something from the old stereo system just laying across the back. It's just butchery, just complete butchery. So I don't know who goes to, oh, here's the, that must go to this. That must be the signal wire for the coil. Yeah, so right here, maybe. I'll have to, yeah, okay, so right here is your coil negative. Here's your coil positive. I don't know. So I got a couple browns in here that probably go to maybe temperature sensor or something. I'll have to dig through them. Now up here, where you follow them back, I'm gonna guess this is the yellow, which is cut at a goofy angle. I don't know. Here's a yellow. Where does that go? That goes down. So I don't know what I'm looking at here. Here's the other red. And look at how burnt that wire is that it goes to. That's all cooked, going right up into the block. So I'm going to have to deal with that also, replace this thing. I think I'm going to have to just take all this wire loom apart and just start from the beginning, trace this all out. It has this alarm system that I'm going to get rid of. So I think what I'm going to do after I get these rockers off, I am going to deal with them first. That way I know they're good and clean before I try to start this. So once these are off, we're going to dig into this wiring. We're going to go through all of this. I have a new coil. I have a cap rotor. So I don't remember what else I have, but I think I have all of the electrical that I need. So we're going to go through. We're going to straighten all of this out as best we can. Under the hood, like I said, this has an old alarm system in it. So I'm going to test, as long as I have power going to the coil, to the ECU. I'm going to just ignore under the dash for now. We'll get it to run, and then I will start the process of sorting all that out. But first things first, let's get back under these valve covers and get those rockers and push rods out and get them dealt with. Out of it and cleaned up. Kind of interesting that it looks like it's been rubbing. I'm not sure what that's all about. Maybe it was, actually, that was probably just me taking this on and off. That's probably nothing. So, these are 1/2 inch. and get some rest. I think these will interchange, but if not, then we're going to just lay them out the way they came. We'll just set them in here in order, and that way they'll go back in order, I guess. Ooh. Look how rusty these front ones are. I can't imagine what the inside of this motor looks like. And as you go back, they just keep getting better and better. So, we'll see. We'll run it. Wow, that one's plugged right up tight. So yes, the ultrasonic's got some work to cut out for it. All right, moving on to the other side. All right, so here you go. Next time you see them, hopefully they'll be beautiful. Okay, I've got this ball of spaghetti. I keep hitting my head on this thing. I've got this ball of spaghetti unloamed, and I've been looking at it a little bit. So they went, spliced a piece of number 10 into this. We covered that a little bit a minute ago. And I am right that this goes to the coil as the power wire. This has no reason to be a number 10. And like I showed you before, if you follow it back, you can see that it's just cooked. Whatever they had tied to this has just burned this wire up. I'm hoping that this just goes right to a bus in the block and there's no damage in there. I'm not even going to look in there yet. What I'm going to do though is this only needs to be number 12 according to the wiring schematic. So I'm going to go in as far as I can. I'm going to solder a piece of 12 to it. I'm going to put some heat shrink all the way to the back. Get rid of that. Take this wire out. This wire here, this other heavy red, this one goes to the back of the alternator. So it is this wire here, which has a little booger in it, but I think I can take care of that. It's also been spliced. The yellow wire laying here, if you look at the end, you can see what's left of a fusible link and what used to be a splice. Well, that yellow wire there, the small one, that's supposed to go to the volt regulator, which they've done this to. So I got to splice this back into that and put an eye on this, because the other end of this goes to the relay, the ignition relay, or the starter relay, sorry. So this needs to be redone. This needs to be removed, replaced with a piece of number 12. This needs to be corrected. This green wire coming off of the voltage regulator, which turns into a blue wire, which turns into a brown wire, this goes to the alternator. So that's going to get taken care of. The other red wire comes up into this block of 3 or 4, I guess. So one of these feeds the ECU, one goes into the voltage regulator, one is the coil, the other one goes to the carburetor. So that's all okay. Now that yellow wire on the other side, they cut and tied it into this ridiculous piece of audio cable. So I'm going to just put that back together, solder that in as well. So hopefully with all of that, oh, and I think I have a pigtail for this so I can make that normal again. This green is the other wire to that. I have traced that back out. It's laying right here. These ends I'm going to change also, and I'm just going to put the screw-on style coil instead of the push-on style. This wire right here, I'm gonna have to do a little bit more research on. It looks like it definitely goes to ground, but there's a symbol on the print that I don't recognize. So I'm gonna have to look that up on the I don't know, see what it goes to. I think it just goes to ground. Maybe it's just showing the other half of the connector. I did just notice this sitting here. I have not yet chased this back, so I'm not sure what that wire is supposed to be yet. Maybe air conditioning, I'm not sure. But I'll chase that back and see what else I'm missing. But that should mostly unscramble this mess. So I'm going to do some work. I'm going to turn it over to the big camera, which is just sitting there looking at us. And we'll rip this thing apart. Okay, dead camera. Big camera battery died. So here's where I'm at now. I've got the yellow wire back together. This wire was, I think, well, I know the wire that I replaced. And like I said, I ran the heat shrink all the way into the firewall. So hopefully that's protected. This wire, looks like it's just cut right there. Let's see if I can get rid of it. without getting you too dizzy. It's like stuck to everything. So, yeah. So that wire is now on the pile of junk. So on this side, this is that new wire. Comes in. Made a new junction. Soldered that together. One goes hot to the coil. The others go to where they should have gone before. One to the control box, one to the voltage regulator, the other to the carburetor. So those are all done. I am going to get on Rock Auto as soon as I'm done this evening, which is going to get pretty soon. Order a fusible link so I can put this together. I still have a purple wire that I haven't identified yet. I have a green wire that I haven't identified yet. This green wire comes from the voltage regulator. It goes to the alternator. This red wire goes to the alternator. It looks like I need a ground for the alternator. Everything else should be how it belongs. So tomorrow we will do the cap and rotor, plugs wires, put the rockers back on, rockers, push rods, valve covers. I'll probably pull that carburetor off and just have a look at it at least, or at least maybe pop the top, have a look at it. And then I think tomorrow we're going to be ready to see if this thing will make some noise for us. But my dinner's ready, and my wife told me about it about an hour ago, so I better get down there. So this is how it's going to sit for tonight, and we'll be back tomorrow, and hopefully hear this thing run. I'm back. It's the next day. How about that? 2 days in a row working on this thing. And here's the cleaned up rocker arms and push rods. There's a little bit of rust. Each one there's a little bit of rust on a couple of these. It's not really structural. It seems pretty strong. I'm not worried about it. The discolor you see, I sprayed these with PB Blaster. I soaked the push rods in oil just to make sure that they're going to be okay. This is a Harbor Freight ultrasonic cleaner. I actually bought really just to clean carburetor. Actually, I originally bought it for my reloading. So I bought it to clean rifle cases. Kind of sad. I don't actually use it. I use a tumbler. I'm getting way off the subject. Anyways, it sat for a little while. I started using it with Pine Sol for carburetors. It does a really good job on them. This is the first thing I ever threw in there that was really disgusting. The Harbor Freight one has time settings. So the longest you can go is, I think, 480 seconds, 450 seconds with heat. This is 2 runs a piece. So pretty good. All right, so now that I did a Harbor Freight commercial, let me show you real quick AMC, because this is kind of new to me also. If you look, let's see if I can get a good angle here. If you look inside of this, you'll see 2 grooves, one on each side. Those are for oiling. Now, if you look at this one from where the rocker or from the push rod, you see it goes in and in. Okay. Now that one goes in and in. They're all gonna be wrong on me. Oh, that one's got a little bit of rust in it. Okay, so all right, so now if you look at this one, they go out and out. All right, now if you saw, I just went through like 5 to find one like this. It doesn't seem to matter. There doesn't seem to be a mix, like an even mix. And since the rockers and everything are the same dimension, what I learned is that the only thing you have to do, if this is from out to in, then this cap must also be from out to in. Okay, so they line up like that, so the grooves are even. This is tweaked a little bit. I'm gonna have to straighten it. But anyways, so that's how they go together. 19 pounds of torque on the bolts, according to my old Chilton's manual. And it's an old Chilton's manual from the early 80s. So anyways, I'm going to go ahead and throw these all together. I am going to put some assembly lube, and actually it looks like these flash rust a little bit. I'm going to clean up that flash rusting, get some assembly lube on these. I'm going to throw them on the motor. I'll probably do that in high speed for you. The only other thing I wanted to say is when I torque these down, I'm going to roll the motor over. I'm going to make sure that it's zero pressure, tighten them down. I might pick some of the boogers out of the motor while I'm at it. So let me get these things all assembled on the Jeep, and then we'll go from there. We're going to get these assemblies all started, all hand tight, better than hand tight. We'll just let them do their thing on the rockers, and then the ones that are level will torque, we'll roll the motor over. The ones that are level will torque, so on and so forth, till we have them all at 19 pounds. And then we'll go from there. So this is probably going to be pretty boring. You did see I put some assembly lube on both ends of the rocker also. I'm just going to blow this out, and then I'll bring you back in once I have all of them on. Okay, so they're all assembled. So what I was trying to explain is what I'll do is I will tighten these all down with this. And some of those rockers will move depending on the position of the cam. Like this one, the spring's going in. So I will get these all where they need to be, or where they want to be, and then I'll go through and torque. I'm going to get you in again with the other camera because I want to show you I have one of those bridges is bent. I was kind of concerned about this at first, but I'll show you what I did. You just keep going, and then I'll bring you back with the smaller camera. Drop the extension in a second. So now they're all hand tight, and as you can see, or hopefully see, I don't know, the sun's kind of in a bad angle, but I don't know where else to put you. Some of them, just because of the position of the engine, springs compressed, but some of them, like this one, is not sitting up nice and high. I can torque that one. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to torque all of the ones that I can do that to. Then I'll roll the motor over and torque the other ones. But I want to show you, I'm going to grab the other camera, show you real quick. These bridges are pretty flimsy. So a lot of them, not a lot of them, a couple of them bent when I was taking the rockers off. So I'll show you what I was kind of worried about it. I was going to try to bend them in my vise, but I was worried that I would make a bigger mess. So I tried this on the other side. It worked real well. I'll show you real quick what I did to remedy that. All right. So if you look at this, you can see this bridge is bent, and this is not center on the valve. So what I did is I take a pair of adjustables, put it here, and I just give it a little bit of a tweak. Might have to tighten them a little bit. Just a little bend, and now it's where it belongs. This is straight looking again. See that? So I used the adjustables. I was gonna just grab them with a pair of vice grips, but I didn't want to mar the side up. I mean, it wouldn't have affected it any, but now it looks normal. So I'm gonna go ahead. That one looks a little tweaked to me also. I'm gonna go ahead and straighten them out, and then we'll start torquing. Okay, all the rockers are adjusted. The two in the back corner, now that I put the camera over there. The two in the back corner, I couldn't get anything on them. I couldn't get the adjustable on them. So I ended up moving them to the front, moving the set bed area straight into the back. So all of the rockers are all true. The bridges are all fixed. So now we're going to torque stuff down. So we're going to torque wrench, which we left at 0, right? We didn't put it away, the torque under it. We're going to bring this thing up to 19. 19 pounds. I'm going to do that all in one shot. So there's 19. Like I said, I put you in a bad spot, but you know what we're doing here. The springs that are all the way up, we're going to torque them. Then we'll roll the motor over and get the rest of them. You know what we're doing. You don't really probably want to see it, but the intake valve just came up, so I should be about on the compression stroke of this motor on the first #1 cylinder. We want that top dead center so that we make sure we have our plugs and our wires in the right orientation. So okay, so now I'm here in air. So we are on the compression stroke. Try to get that to the top, then we'll look for a timing mark. Oh, I probably went too far. It feels close. Let me go too far. Nope, we're still. All right, now I went too far. Must have overshot it. Nope, I am at the mark right now. Just compression tapered off. But that is where I need to be. So now I will pull the cap off, see where it's pointed. That's #1. And we'll get plugs and wires in this thing. I'm not going to throw the rockers on until after I've started it, mostly because I just want to make sure that I'm getting oiled at the top of this thing. I don't have a fan on it, so it's not going to blow a bunch of crap into the motor, or shouldn't at least. So I want to just watch it for a minute, make sure it's bringing oil to the top, then I'll button it up. So get this thing off and figure out what's what. Oh, I don't have a cap and rotor for this yet. I ordered some, so I'm gonna have to do a bunch of cleaning on this one. And you guys probably saw this all along. I was claiming that this had a Duraspark Ford ignition in it because I thought these all did. And I don't know if you remember back, if you go back to when Brittany and I were first working on this in Tennessee, and I opened the hood and I pointed that and I said something stupid. I don't remember what I said, but something like, oh, this is the old style. But it's not Ford at all. So I ordered the wrong cap, the wrong rotor. Somehow the coil came out right though. There was 2 different coils, but maybe they got it wrong. I don't know. But anyways, I'm gonna have to clean this and reuse it at least until the new parts show up. So let me get all that in the works, get the plugs in it, get the wires straightened out, get this thing cleaned up, make sure the rotor's okay, and yeah, then we'll see if we can make some noise with this motor. Okay, if you feel attacked by what I'm about to say, you probably should. Okay, if your engine is running its stock 2-barrel, has a stock cam, is a utility vehicle making like 200 horsepower, long tube headers is not the answer. Okay, you're not going to get any girls with long tube headers and a bone stock motor like this. Okay, I know you're very popular up in Niagara Falls with the girls, but anywhere else you're just a loser, man. You're just a loser that's making the next guy struggle like crazy to put spark plugs in the motor that you gave up on, probably because no girls liked you anyways. So don't be this guy. Okay, the long tube headers, they definitely have their uses, and if you're making real horsepower, sure, go ahead and throw them on there. If you have an engine that's exposed and that looks really cool, all right, maybe you want to deal with it. This is neither. This is just a Jeep. This is a Jeep, man. You put long tube headers on a Jeep so that I have to fight with spark plugs. I'm not happy about this. All right, so don't be this guy. Don't be this guy. Okay, plugs took forever, but they're on. Wires are on. I want to show you the timing mark. Oh, if I can get my head in here. Okay, right here. Can you see it? Probably not. Let's see if I can get you someplace where you can see it. I can't tell if you can see it or not. Timing mark right there. Okay. I need a light. Anyways, timing mark's right there. So it is at top dead center. Firing order for this, just like Chevy, 18436572. Every print that I looked at showed number 1 being right here. Number 1 is back there. So this distributor has definitely been out of this motor back in. I just wired it the way it is. I'll probably pull this distributor out eventually and spin it 180, but it should run this way, so I'm not worried about it. So all I really need to do, oh, I hit my head on that thing again. So all I really need to do is get the starter relay in and get the rest of the wires hooked to that, and it should be ready to fire. Okay. Oh, you know what? Look at that old oil filter. I'm gonna probably do oil filter also. I take this belt off. Water pump makes an awful lot of noise when you move it, so I don't want it to lock up and catch a belt on fire. So I'm gonna get that off also. So let's get an oil change done. Let's get this belt off and let's get that thing relocated, and we'll call it good. All right, so all this is buttoned up. All that's left to do is get these wires, get the starter relay in, get these wires hooked to it, and that should be it with that. Oh, get the belt off. Still have the belt to get off. But let's get this thing done. That's gonna look just like this. Done. Also got the belt off. Still gotta do an oil change. Found something I want to show you real quick. And once the oil's done, man, we're ready to put some juice to this thing. We're ready to hit it, I think. So let's get that oil done. Okay, so I was chasing out the wires, and I found, here, let me turn you around. Try not to get you too dizzy. I'm really bad with this GoPro. So this wire goes to the starter solenoid. It calls it blue. It looks green to me, but if you chase it all the way up there, I don't know if the sun's blinding you or not. It is a blue wire. It's just been faded to green, I guess. This purple wire, I told you about this, I guess yesterday, just a few minutes ago for you. Couldn't figure out this purple wire. Wire diagram says it goes to the oil pressure sending unit, which is right above the filter. However, it had been changed out. This thing had an aftermarket gauge on it, so there's just a wide open hole right here. So I guess it's a good thing I found that. I wasn't even going to worry about these wires yet. I just put a pipe fitting plug in it for now because I don't have anything else. I'm going to have to come up with a sending unit, hook that up correctly. So I'm going to end up changing the oil and filter now that that's plugged. Hopefully there's no other holes to shoot oil out. The other thing I saw while I was changing the spark plugs or replacing them, this has got some corrosion under it. This is my my neutral strap. So I'm going to take that apart, clean it up. But I also noticed that there is no ground strap, no chassis strap, nothing going from the engine to the frame or to the body. So I'm going to run a second one off of here, just come to maybe this or so, just something so that I have a second ground. Still got that. We talked about that already. So I've got just a little bit of wiring left to tie down. Give this thing an oil change. Yeah. Look at this. Look at the stack of washers behind this water pump. So a professional has definitely been working on this thing. Or me. I guess I could have owned it. I don't know. Yeah, so anyways, let's get the work done. I'll bring you back in just a few minutes when this thing's all ready to go. Okay, so I'm going to take just a couple of minutes, piss everyone off, and talk motor oil. So all of the YouTubers, all of them, put diesel oil, T4, in all of their motors. The reason is these old flat tappet motors need zinc. Now, you can do whatever you want with your motor. I'm sure those guys have done their research. Everything I find shows that Rotella lowered their zinc levels a few years ago. And I don't know if it does or doesn't have enough zinc now for these old motors. But I do know that zinc has enough zinc for these old motors. So I run just regular gas motor, regular gas oil, and I run a bottle of ZDDP additive. And I call it good. Now, you'll see this bottle of oil come up a lot right here. This is not O'Reilly's oil. I just keep it in these jugs. This is actually Walmart Tech 2000. Comes in a bag inside of a box of bladder. It's cheap oil. With this zinc stuff, it's about as cheap as you can fill an engine up with oil. I don't run my vehicles like this, but anything that I'm gonna do where I don't know if this motor's any good, I don't know anything about it. I know it's probably full of crap. Something that, I mean, I'm gonna run this oil for an hour maybe, and then I'm gonna change it. So when this thing actually gets, when I know it's good, when it's going to be running, when it's going on the road, we're going to swap to Pennzoil. That's what I run. I mean, the other thing that I like is, this is 1030. I have a 1040 bottle, 1030 bottle. I do keep that right. I like the flow. You know, I don't like that thick oil. It gives you a lot of pressure. If you need it, then you need it. If this thing only is making 25 pounds of pressure with 1030, yeah, maybe I need 1540 or 2050, you know. But if it makes good pressure with 1030, I'm going to run 1030 in it. So this is my test oil, and it seems to work for me. So, you know, if you disagree with me, let me have it. I don't really care. Maybe you're right, maybe I'm wrong, but I know that I'm not hurting this engine by putting the additive in it. I know this is cheaper than T4, and like I said, since this is coming out of this thing in an hour or so of running anyways, I'm going to go with as cheap as I can. The motor's junk. I've only wasted about $17. So that's my theory anyways. So let me put this in here, and oh, you know what I've got to do still? I want to check that transmission. Before I start this thing up, I want to make sure that I'm not running that pump dry. Let me check that in a minute. Man, I think we're ready. I've got the belts off. I think I mentioned that, but now that they're off, let me 1 second. You can't multitask, you know. I'm not a very good YouTuber. All right, so you can listen. That's the water pump. So that's why the belt's off, because I don't want that thing to seize up. So we got oil in it. We got zinc in it. Take a peek, see if we need some transmission fluid. Well, that's probably bad. Check that again. Maybe it was just stuff that fell off the Well, I have a feeling it's got some burnt clutches in it. That's a little disturbing. But it has oil in the dipstick. So for now, we're going to call that okie dokie. I think we're ready to drop a battery in this thing and give her a whirl. Alright, battery's down in. Ground is on, or negative on. Put the hot on. Put that on there. I don't see anything bursting into flames. That's a good sign. Key should still be off. Key's still off. And I have 12 volts to the coil. Oh, no. Anyways, boy, that's introducing this thing. Oh, way too much. Smack the key? Yeah, we'll do it for this thing. Oh, I smell a lot of gas. Let's see what happens. Alright, here we go. First try. Oh, almost. Are you kidding me? Oh, we gotta catch fire. Oh, that's the battery, I guess. smoking a bit. I'm gonna need more battery. I can see that right now. How about that? She started. She ran. She did something. I'm gonna need more battery though, I think. By the way, if you like these things and you want one, these are called wash bottles. You get them at Amazon for just a few bucks. She's doing it. She's doing it. Got a lot of stuff to burn off of this thing. Come on, you. Did you have a screwdriver in there, maybe? Maybe. Let's try that. Take that. You heard that, didn't you? I heard it too, but I'll be honest, I didn't hear it at first. See, when I first started it up, there was a lot of upper end chatter, a lot of rocker arm noise. There was a lot of rocker arm noise, and that's all I could hear was the upper end rattling. As it got oil, that kind of quieted down. From right here, with this thing just tinny echoing the motor back, I couldn't hear what you heard. You could tell by this terrible segment that this is a little bit later, after a little bit of poking around. Being the optimist, I check my timing, see if maybe, too far advanced, too far retarded, causing some kind of a pinging issue. That's not it. It's probably a rod. Hey, this is why we put cheap oil in these things, though. We don't know what we're going to get into. I'm going to be yanking this thing out, and we'll tear it down. I'll bring you along for the teardown. We'll see how bad it actually is. See if we can do something with this motor, or if I've got to start searching marketplace for a new motor. When I was about 17, 18 years old, a mechanic friend of the family told me, don't ever buy a used Jeep. He said, used Jeeps are just beat to death. So these Jeep people wear their Jeep out. Today's Jeep people aren't the same Jeep people that these Jeep people are. Like today's Jeep people probably have a favorite drink at Starbucks, or have scheduled a spa time, buy rubber duckies, things like that. These Jeep people, they were hardcore outdoorsmen. The guy who bought this was a utility vehicle, not a sport utility. The guy that probably bought this originally was probably to get him to his favorite fishing hole or hunting ground, or up to his cabin in the woods, or whatever. This thing was probably pretty well used up before it got parked. That said, we're going to get it going. So this motor is going to come out. We'll tear it down, see how bad it really is. It's a turbo 400 transmission. I might as well rebuild that while I'm at it, because I know how, and they're not that expensive. Oh, and it wouldn't be bad to have some new clutch packs and some bushings and stuff in that. I can bring you along for that if you're interested. We'll see when the time comes. But I guess that's going to be it for this thing for now. We got it running. We got it unstuck. Got it running. Got to hear it make some noise. It didn't make some good noise, but it made noise. And we'll get around the road. It's just going to take us a little more time than I was hoping that it was going to. So, guys, thanks for watching again. This is Attempted Auto. And tune in, see what we got coming up next. So we'll get on this pretty soon. I've got a couple other things. Got to get that Econoline van running. You haven't seen that thing yet. I also have to get either the Econoline or the Studebaker ready for a Lemons Rally. That's coming up pretty quick. So we're going to do some work on probably the Studebaker coming up in a future video. We're going to get back to this thing pretty soon. Probably before you even see the next video, I'll have this motor out and have it torn apart. We'll see how it all goes. Anyways, thanks again for watching, and again, see what kind of mess we're going to do next. Thank you.